It's the Morning Majlis.
Oh, yes, it is. We're celebrating the World Tourism Day. And to understand the importance of tourism and how important the revival of tourism is for all of us, we're very kindly joined by the Director of Spanish Tourism Office, who's based at the Embassy of Spain in Abu Dhabi this morning. It is Daniel Rosado Bayon. Very good morning and pleasure to have you with us on air.
Very good morning, and thank you so much for having me here today.
Well, it's such it's going to be a great discussion because, you know, obviously a lot of people from this part of the globe love traveling to Spain, and some people do speak Spanish as well.
Un poquito.
Yeah. So good to. We're looking forward to this conversation. So, Daniel, let's start off by talking about World Tourism Day. Obviously, celebrating the formation of the UNWTO, but when we talk about Tourism Day, for an official such as yourself, how important is this day?
Well, as you mentioned, the World Tourism Day, I mean, it's been here since the 1980. So it celebrates the status of the World Tourism Organization. Actually, that day was decided in a meeting they had in Spain. So from that day on, it's a good day to reflect, to think, to take a minute, because it's a fast-paced society nowadays. So it's good to have one day to stop a bit and have a bit of a thought on where tourism is going. So on these days, many meetings, many roundtables, many articles about tourism are out, so it gives us the chance to have that minute to reflect on where do we want to go for the tourism industry. It's also good to highlight the importance of tourism because it's very important in many ways and in many sectors. Economically, it's one of the sectors, like for Spain, it's like 12% of the GDP, so it's quite a big part of our economy, and it also happens worldwide. For example, in the UAE, also it's quite a big part of the economy. But also in the social aspect, it brings people together. It brings countries, cultures. So it helps a lot in having a better world, right? And also nowadays, it's something that it's on the table. Sustainability, also tourism has a big impact there. So it's a good day, to think about where we are heading.
So, Daniel, this is funny because yesterday I was having a debate with one of my friends, and she doesn't like to travel and she doesn't like to go on tourism anywhere, basically. And we were having this debate, and I said, traveling really does bring cultures together, makes you learn a lot, and makes you, get exposed to other cultures. And she said, I can do that, through Google or YouTube or anything. I can just Google anything and I can find out about any country or any culture. So how do you address that state of mind? Do you think that is okay? I mean, we have to respect everyone in the end. Of course, everyone has their own preference. But what do you think of that state of mind? How important is a person being exposed to tourism and traveling, and especially at this time of in an era that we're living in right now, and things are back to normal?
I mean, it is true that now technology helps us a lot in many ways of our normal life, no? When we use technology and we have access to it, it is true that we can discover different cultures, different countries, but that discovering digitally can never be replaced by the actual going to a country, feeling the country, talking to the people and having an actual discussion with someone that you just met, experiencing the gastronomy, the culture. It's not the same watching a video about a very nice monument that actually being there under the sun, experiencing the people all around. For example, the Mosque of Cordoba, let's say, or the Alhambra of Granada. It's something so beautiful that you can see a picture and you say, okay, it's very beautiful. But until you don't go there and you really experience it, you can touch the stone that has been there for, thousands, hundreds of years in this case. You don't really get to experience that. The flavors of the food, the smell that you get in the place, it's all a mix that until you are not there in that spot, you cannot have the total feeling, and that changes your mind. and your perception. Also, when you are in that place, imagine there's a flamenco performance, right? You can see it it's like a concert, no? You can see
Yeah,
it on
it's true.
live. But then when you are there and the people are really feeling it, the atmosphere changes completely and it transforms. And it's something totally different that you will never be able to feel. Even if you are watching online that same event, if you are there, the feelings you get, the senses that happen that the things that arise in you cannot be. I mean,
And you
technology
touched
cannot.
and you touched on a very important aspect of this is that a lot of economies they do depend on their tourism sector to flourish. A lot of economies they don't have natural resources, so they probably depend on tourism. So probably that's one of the most significant reasons why today we are celebrating World Tourism Day. Am I right?
Totally agree. I mean, for Spain, it's 12% of the GDP, but around the world, the figure is similar. So it's a big industry. Many people live from this. And there are many stakeholders. No, we can talk about hotels, we can talk about hospitality, airlines. So many people are involved in this business. And it's a business that on one side is a business, but on the other side, it's a very it's made up of experiences, and it's I can call it can be called like the happiness industry, no? Because it's something that delivers happiness to the people. No, when you're traveling, you are happy most of the time, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And you are going. I mean, if you are going for business, maybe it's more serious. But if you are going for leisure, you are really going in a nice mood to explore different places. So it's a very interesting industry and something that it's very appealing for all of the people that work in this industry. We've gone through tough times during these COVID times, but now we are starting to see the light, and we hope that we get this tourism back in order to recover that part of the economy, which is essential for many people in Spain, but also around the world.
Yeah.
There are many countries, as you said, that their main source of income is tourism, and now they are seeing the future with better hopes.
Well, let's talk about that some more, the recovery of international tourism. So, yeah, you've noted recovering from COVID-19. We're seeing that here in the UAE, for example, they've let go of the mask mandates. But there's also a very, very tricky economic environment, especially in Europe right now. We're looking at rising inflation. We're looking at a spike in oil prices as well. So transportation's more expensive. Accommodation is more expensive as well. Can you talk about how those factors have an impact on the recovery of tourism?
Mm-hmm. So up to the moment, I mean, up to now, we had a fantastic summer. The summer was, I can say, unaffected by all this inflation and all this economic situation that is building up at this moment. So we experienced a very, very high demand. Actually, as you have been able to see, airlines were not able to carry as many people as they like. Airports were not able to handle so many people. And across the industry, there were many points of friction, no? Because there was such a huge demand that could not be absorbed that easily, especially after some years of not being, of not having that much of an activity, no? So summer was great. The thing is, as you rightly mentioned, we are now seeing that a recession in the horizon, inflation, it's spiking up quite a bit, and we have the war in Europe, and so we are seeing that there are some concerns for the future. But up to now, all the data that we are seeing, the bookings are very high. If you can see the fares from the airlines, they are still high. That means that there are a lot of bookings. So it will affect, of course, but it will depend also from region to region. Probably the traveling across Europe towards Spain, for example, in this case, or inside Europe, will be more affected. But from this region, from the GCC region, from the UAE, we are seeing that the trend is still quite going up, and this inflation does not affect the same to so all the regions across the world. And this region, the GCC, is less affected because of its economy. So we are expecting to see still a high demand from this region, and that is going to be less affected than other regions such as Europe, where we'll probably see a bit of a more tough times than here. But so far the forecast is not that bad.
Well, really glad to hear that that it's going well. Also, how do you think it compares to the pre-pandemic levels? Because that's like the end game. How does tourism today and the pace it's going at compare to how things were before COVID-19 took over our lives?
So with the data that we have from this summer, we are very positive. Things have recovered really quickly. And for example, if I give you the data for Spain for this summer, we had, up to July, the first half of the year, we had like 40% more people coming to Spain from the UAE than in 2019, which was the best year in history. So the spike is there. People are eager to travel, and they really want to travel. On a whole, on Spain, we got like around 90% of what we had in 2019, and we still have a year to go. And we have to bear in mind also that there are some countries, such as China, which is a huge country, which is still closed. Wait for it to open, and maybe we can see a opening maybe from October onwards. So once the restrictions in some countries that they still are applying them go out, I think that we are going to have much more people on the flying and traveling around. So it will compensate even some part of people that are still a bit uneasy to travel. And as we move to the new year, 2023, I think that this COVID mentality kind of being very, very, very cautious will change, and people will be more eager to travel. Those still that are not that eager.
Amazing. Well, it's great to see that, isn't it? The projection and the positivity. I've got to ask you this. Well, when I went to Dubrovnik last month, the big theme was that Game of Thrones played a big role in promoting it. To what extent did La Casa de Papel play a role? Do you think? Do you think these TV shows are useful for this generation or this young generation of travelers to come over to a country and explore it?
It is very useful. We can see the trend from La Casa de Papel. There's it is played around the central bank. That place, which was never visited too much, but I told you to say, now it's full with people. Whenever you go around, you see, and you're amazed, no? Because I myself lived in Madrid, because I'm from. And you never saw anyone there, and now when you pass through, you say, okay, something is happening. No, it's this place, no, where it was filmed. So actually, it has a lot it's impacting a lot the new generations. And for example, we work together with Netflix, to Spain Tourism, in order to make some kind of some types of promotion. We work together with these kind of platforms. We did just a campaign with Netflix, and it's very powerful. The reach that you have cannot be. It's very difficult to measure because it's very big, and not only because of the location, but there's also a big industry around it. Like, for example. There are certain Netflix series where the costumes or the scenarios was built in Spain, and then people go and see that. Also, we had a lot of locations for Game of Thrones, and now they are packed with people visiting, and they are really enjoying to see the actual place. So it's really interesting to see that trend.
Well, great to see that trend, and great to catch up with you once again, this time on the Morning Majlis. Well, good to see you, and we wish you all the very best. And you've got the National Day coming up as well, so that should be an exciting time.
Yes, 12th of October, we are celebrating Spain National Day, and we are very happy and looking forward to it because after 2 years of some restrictions, now this year is going to be quite a big celebration.
Big celebration indeed. Well, thank you very much. We're listening to Daniel Rosado, who's the director of the Spain Tourism Office based in Abu Dhabi at the Embassy of Spain. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, stay tuned to the Morning Majlis. More tourism discussions have been lined up. We'll be back after some more musical entertainment.